Welcome to another episode of Master Plan. I am your gracious host, Monica Sekhmet Grant, and we are here today with another interview with our lovely Naketa Thigpen. She is a balance and relationship coach. Is that correct?
Close. Balance and relationship advisor.
Advisor. So let's just dig on in here. Tell us about the work that you do.
In simple, it's not work because it's fun and relaxing for everyone involved except for me.
We'll get into that.
Right, we'll get into that. So I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a podcast host, and when I have time, I rock my other hat as CEO. I'm pretty much unapologetically passionate about everything I do, empowering women in business and men, a few brave men, who are really struggling with outdated norms and limitations that are stifling their dreams because it's connected and anchored in shame.
Anchored in shame. Tell me about that.
Well, think about it. So before you got into entrepreneurship, you worked in a more traditional job, right? And when you're in those traditional jobs, most people, whether it's corporate, nonprofit, whatever that traditional outlook is, they come from this space of, I can't wait to get out because getting out on the other side is so much better.
Right.
And when they're stuck in this 9 to 5, they're constantly limited by, the pay isn't enough, the retention programs, the engagement program isn't enough, everything is wrong here. Then they go into entrepreneurship, and because they may not be surrounded by the right people, they're stuck in this space of not being taken seriously, of not believing that they can do it, and wanting to get back into those corporations, not to work for them, but to work with them. And there's this shame of, can you really do it on your own?
Right.
Can you do it without the hypocrisy of saying, I need, a big company like, I'll just make up a name, a Comcast or Verizon to be my golden ticket? Because if I'm working with a lot of boutique mom and pops, which typically are referrals from your family or friends, like anything, not just MLMs, but anything, it comes from this space of, well, that's not a real job, that's a hobby.
Right.
So they have this shame of not only not being taken seriously by their friends and family, but sometimes by their partners, their loved ones, their children if they have them, because now we can't go on vacation. Now we can't have our normal lifestyle because everything's into the business. And there's this big hidden shame around it.
Right. One thing that we focus on are first generation entrepreneurs. And so a lot of first generation entrepreneurs deal with that. The family doesn't take them serious. You're not working, you need to go get a real job. How do you advise somebody to deal with those challenges?
Well, first is dealing with what your expectation is around it, right?
Okay.
Like, we have our own expectation of what we think life on the outside of that traditional structure is going to be. So it's almost like being in prison, depending on how you see yourself in those traditional jobs. Well, I can't wait to get out. When I'm on the other side, my life is going to be so much better.
Right.
And just like someone in prison, when they get out, life is not exactly what you think it's going to be.
That's true.
People are not waiting with open arms, hugs, and kisses to welcome you in to you not being able to contribute to society, whatever that society, culture, community, family structure is, the way you used to, maybe before you went into that system or whatever, hypothetically. So when you come into this space and you have family, friends, or foe, because there's a lot of haters out there, who are constantly saying, let this ride out in a year, give her 6 months, give him, 4 months, whatever. It'll die out. You're also dealing with, what was your expectation? Did you think you was going to come out and make $1 million? Did you think you were going to land, 5 big accounts and be able to buy a new house in a year? Or did you understand that this was a marathon and not a sprint? What was your relationship to your own vision? Did you set expectations that were unattainable and unrealistic? Not that you can't have this miraculous 5-month, amazing progress, but that's not the normal. And although most of us as entrepreneurs say, well, we're not normal, so you're not supposed to expect it, you still want to be realistic with life and things happening. Death, dying, funerals, weddings, babies, divorces. There's lots of unexpected things that happen in any lifetime, but especially as an entrepreneur, because there's a heaviness to it. So I usually coach people through the process of, where do you sit with where you want to go? Are you trying to make $2,000 this month? That's pretty reasonable. If you come out saying, when I quit my job on Monday, I'm going to make $5,000 by next Friday, that's probably not something, one, you need to back up, all the way. What did you do to get there? But also looking at, what are you going to do to maintain everything that you're asking for? You're asking for all of this success and all of these clients, but are you structured for that? Do you have systems and processes in place? Can you handle taking on 20 new clients this week? But that's how much, because of your pricing and your packaging, that's how many clients you would need to have that lifestyle. But you're not even literally pun intended, you're not balanced enough to be able to manage that.
Right.
So we back up and look at their mindset before we attack their methods.
Okay. What are some practical tips that a person watching this could take to create that balance in their life, particularly if they're a first generation entrepreneur, they're just getting started, they have a big dream, and I've been there. I've been there. Dream big, and then you get hit. You get hit hard, and you don't know, should I continue to do this? Should I go back to the work? At least I can have stability. What are some practical tips that you can give to a new entrepreneur to take those steps to have a marathon versus a sprint?
I would say be realistic about who you're working with. You know, who's your ideal client? And we hear that all the time, you know, ideal client, your avatar, build it out. And people skip that step because they don't want to go that deep. I just had a client in this business incubator that I run say, it was really hard for me to do the ideal client avatars. I have all kind of cartoons and things just to make it a little bit more intimate, because she didn't think that it was necessary to go that deep with her client and understanding them. I was like, yeah, but you want to know where to find them, right? You want to know what rooms to walk in instead of trying to go to every networking event, instead of spending all your money on all these logoed cups. And what if your ideal client doesn't want a mug? Now you didn't spend $1,000 on marketing material and colors of pink and orange thinking, oh, they look pretty, it looks good, but your ideal client who you really want to work with, who you can service the best, is not attracted to pink and orange. They're not buying you because they were really looking for something a little classy that was black and white with a pop of red. And here you are with some pink and orange, and they're like, I'm not 17, that's not what I'm interested in for whatever that product or service is. So if you really, know where they shop, where they go take their kids to play, whether they're a Walmart shopper for the majority of their clothes, not that this is the only thing they can do, or if they're really that person that's walking into Nordstrom and don't care about prices. You really need to know as much about your client as possible, and if you can get that, then you can figure out what would they pay for this. So if I am servicing let's say a Nordstrom client, and the Nordstrom level client doesn't look at prices and is actually kind of offended that you're price shopping or price comparing, then me walking up to someone saying, oh, well, you can do a coaching program for me for only $299. I'm like, oh, well, obviously I'm not supposed to work with you because that's inexpensive, and I spend $299 on toilet tissue, you know? They might have a different, a little facetious, but they may have a completely different mindset.
No, that's real. People believe they get what they pay for, and so if they want to pay a lot for something major.
Absolutely. Versus, now Walmart makes a lot of money, so there's no disrespect to people who are price comparing, but know who you're talking to. Because if you're talking to someone who's used to getting coaching for $59.99 an hour, then your $299 is way above what they're thinking, and they're just like, I'm sorry, we just wasted an hour and a half or whatever the amount of time was. So if you really know who you're talking to and kind of niche that down, you know how to do your prices, you know what your packages should be, how much should be in it, you know what your color scheme can be. Like, you've laid out everything so you can save money and time, but you cannot skip that step. Know who you're talking to. It's like knowing who you're going to date. Do you want them tall? Do you want them short? Do you want them a little thick in the hips, or you want them a little tight? Otherwise, you're just going through the city. You know what I mean? Like, you're just wasting your time and your money on a lot of unnecessary opportunities that are leading you down this kind of tunnel and funnel of nonsense, which is not only wasting your money, but now it's draining you for when you finally get it together. You don't have energy or money left over to really invest in you.
Very true. Very true. Very true. What got you involved in this lifestyle now, being a balance and relationship advisor? How did you get to this place?
There's a short story and there's a long story. So the short story is balance is always something that kept me awake. You know, I was raised in an extremely dysfunctional household, and my biological mother is brilliant to this day and completely unbalanced. So I saw what that could look like. I saw what untapped potential looks like when it's not maximized, when it's not guided, when it's not structured, and she's a very dysfunctional person to this day. So that was part of why balance just like stuck with me. Like, I don't want to be that person. So my whole life and all my degrees and all the things that I've done to keep my family together and stay with my husband and maintain my kids and be this power parent and all this stuff I've done has been to be the opposite of my mother. And I found myself going down this pathway of working so hard as this ultra achieving woman that has 5 jobs and all this, with the cape and the bow tie and the shield to throw. I'm doing all this. And then my daughter, who's 16 now, was about 7.5, basically told me, you're awesome, but you're awesome for everyone but me.
Wow.
So here I was creating this paradoxical world that was literally just like the one I was running from. In a different way. There was no drugs, there was no alcohol, there were no men involved, but I was giving her the same existence that I had, which was this brilliance that I could see that was unbalanced, because everything was really focused on making sure that I could give them everything in the world, but I wasn't giving them me because I wasn't available. And that had to shift. I needed to make sure that I could live a life that was successful and fruitful, that allowed me to create memories. So everything I do is helping other people create deliberate moments in their life, their business, and their relationship, because otherwise you're just busy running around and no one remembers it anyway.
Absolutely. What made you take the step to go out on your own?
That was funny. So I was frustrated.
Okay. That's honest.
I was really frustrated. I had an amazing job. I loved what I did. I was great at what I did, but I wasn't fulfilled.
Okay.
And it wasn't a good balance for my family. 12, 16, 18-hour days under someone else's clock, not being able to, I do 12, 16, 18-hour days now. As an entrepreneur, don't get it twisted, you will work hard. However, I can take a 20-minute break at 10 o'clock in the morning if I want, or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or 9 o'clock at night, working in someone else's, clock in, clock out, which is all good. And we want to have contracts with those people who clock in and clock out, so it's no disrespect. But in that, I couldn't necessarily maneuver my schedule to make it to recitals and soccer games and everything in between. And that didn't feel good for me. So I sat in this space. I'm really spiritual, as you know, and I just sat in this space of, God, show me what I'm supposed to be doing. So he did. He showed me exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in the long run. He just didn't show me how to get there. So I kind of had to fail forward through the evolutions of my company. We're almost 6 years old. And in those evolutions, I discovered me. I discovered my fears. I discovered my amazingness. I discovered how freaking incredible I am, and even more so when I push past myself. But where it really came from was me just asking for help.
That's awesome. Now, me and you met through Bonnie. I came down to Philly and we recorded an episode with you, and we hit it off since then. You're a mentor of mine. I love you. You're a friend, and we were meeting at the hotel last year.
A couple years ago.
Couple years ago. And you had given me advice of what I needed to do, and you said I fell back. It wasn't I fell back. I was taking your advice, and I was paying attention to what I really needed to do to move forward. And so I thank you for that. I thank you for that. And you've always been real, and I think that's very important, particularly in the life coaching space, because everybody wants to be happy and everybody wants to be fulfilled and live life, but you have to deal with the realness of, one, I'm a Black woman. I deal with the reality of being a Black woman. I want to be fulfilled, but I also have to, deal with, the things I have going on in my life. My life isn't perfect. We got dysfunction in our family. We have so many different just issues that still have to be dealt with on top of being an entrepreneur, being successful, wearing that cape. And so I appreciate you because you come forward with it all and say, hey, I'm still here slaying.
Right, absolutely, all day.
And so I appreciate that. I honor you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be unfiltered, because that's who I am all day, and some people have selected themselves out because I'm so unfiltered. And I'm okay with that. You attract by repelling, right? You attract the right people by repelling. And I think that you taking that time for yourself was you allowing people to self-select out as well, because that allowed you to kind of come into your own incubator and space and really see, what does Monica want? What does Monica deserve? Where is Monica going? And you will evolve and grow and rebrand and reprocess throughout the millennial that you're blessed to be here for. But it doesn't change that you are setting yourself up to be in this space of always being true to who you are right now.
Right, and I appreciate that. So, this show is definitely for first-generation entrepreneurs, but I use it for myself, so I appreciate that.
Listen, Linda. No.
Linda.
honey, don't get me started.
Now, tell the audience, one, how they can find you, but also how they can participate in your movement.
Sure. I would say the easiest thing in the world to do is to listen to the podcast. So we have Balance Boldly podcast, which is literally a campaign to shake the shame that we've just been talking about, everything that's holding you back in your business and personal growth life. That's on iTunes, Balance Boldly. Anywhere, iTunes, Google Play, if you got a podcatcher, you can catch it.
It's good. I listen to it. It's good.
Thank you. And when you listen to that, it literally kind of directs you to where to go after.
Okay.
The place on social media that I prefer to engage personally is Instagram and Twitter. That's where I play the most. My husband hates when I say that. Like, don't tell people you play on social media. They might think you're doing some
Instagram.
hashtag something else. You know, what you mean shake the shade? From what inhibitions?
What are you shaking?
Right, what are you shaking? But I do love to engage on Twitter and IG, and I think because of the way the flow is, and you just use that hashtag shake the shame and I'll find you for sure, or Balance Boldly, either way. But we're Balance Boldly on every social media that you can think of, from LinkedIn to Facebook and on and on. But our website, if you're interested in a program specifically, a business incubator, a business accelerator, anything where entrepreneurs need to come together and get it together, truly, and I mean that across business, personal, and relationship space, go to thigpro.com.
Thigpro.com. Yes, yes. What about cupcakes?
Oh,
this will air. This will air for Manhattan audience.
Yeah. So Coaching and Cupcakes, we have our flagship in New York, in Midtown Manhattan, which started earlier this year for 2017, and it's literally a pop-up that we plan to have in every city we can possibly get it in, morning, noon, and night. Coaching and Cupcakes is really a pop-up mastermind that has like a peer advisory feel, where other experts that are stronger and smarter than me are coming together to really help each other grow. And it's only about 60 to 75 minutes, so it's meant to truly be a drop-in coaching kind of mastermind experience, because we want to respect your time. Everyone we attract is crazy productive, not just busy. They're doing great things, and it's a teaser, it's a lead-in for our company, because when they come and they get great things, if you want more from us, you know how to go through the flow. And if you want something from someone who is also amazing in the room, you've also made really quality connections.
Right. It's a great opportunity to surround yourself by really great people that are doing good work in Manhattan, as well as Philadelphia and other places in the country. So you're
pop up and get a cupcake and some coaching along the way.
Well, thank you so much, Naketa, for being on the show. I'm just very grateful to have you in my life. And you know, I hope that the audience sees what I see in you, and hopefully they go into your website. Give them the website again.
Thigpro.com.
There we go. Well, that's another episode of Master Plan. Stay tuned. You're saying, yo, I'm living my life and everything ain't always